and I had a 22-minute conversation with her, and she didn't know me from a bar of soap. Hi, I'm Richard E. Grant, and these are my film firsts with BAFTA. First film I ever saw was the Disney Peter Pan when I was 4 years old, and I was absolutely terrified and spent most of the time under my seat rather than on top of it. I have seen Peter Pan many times, all through my daughter's childhood, so she wasn't half as terrified of it as I was. So seeing the Disney cartoon version of it when I was 4, I wanted to fly, and when I saw Mary Poppins when I was 7, I then jumped off our garage with an umbrella and broke my arm. So this desire to fly, I blame on the movies. First film that I saw that I wasn't allowed to see was A Clockwork Orange. It had a XXX rating, and I saw it when I was 16 and felt that it was, I'd broken all the laws and all the rules. The first film that I saw that I thought that is speaking directly to me was seeing Barbra Streisand singing I'm the Greatest Star in Funny Girl in 1969 when I was 12 years old. I am a lifelong, 53 years and counting, Streisand fanatic. The first time I met Barbra Streisand was at a party while I was doing Robert Altman's film The Player in 1991, and I had a 22-minute conversation with her, and she didn't know me from a bar of soap, and then I subsequently met her when I got an Oscar nomination 4 years ago, and then had a 2-hour one-to-one conversation with her, and she knew exactly who I was, so my dreams came true. The first film quote that I remember, Barbra Streisand, first time I'd ever seen her on screen, when she looks at herself in the mirror and says, "Hello, gorgeous," in an ironic way. It was absolutely classic. And that's how she accepted her first Oscar, by saying "Hello, gorgeous" to the award. First film role that I auditioned for was for the role in Withnail and I in 1986, and mercifully Daniel Day-Lewis had turned the film down, so they were scraping the barrel and looking around for 2 months to try and find somebody else, so I finally fitted the bill. When I read this script, I thought I'd been out of work for 9 months, so to play an out of work, embittered actor, it was like reading something that I'd been experiencing. So it felt like the most perfect fit imaginable at that time. Have I gone on holiday by mistake? Yes, last week I did. My first school play was playing the cat in a panto of Cinderella when I was 9. Felix the cat, of belonging to the evil stepsisters in the panto version of Cinderella. I secretly always wanted to be an actor since I was 7 years old, but the idea that I could actually do this as a profession only came to fruition when I was in an amateur production of Camelot in Swaziland in 1975, and I thought, well, I'm going to pursue this and try and go to drama school. The film that I have watched more than any other is Nashville, directed by Robert Altman, and I've seen it 27 times. And I saw it those 27 times before video or DVD had come out, so it meant physically going to the cinema to see it. I worked with Robert Altman 3 times on The Player, Pret-a-Porter and Gosford Park, so the notion that I would ever, as a teenage wannabe actor, that I would, as an adult, get to work with him 3 times was beyond anything that I could have dared imagine. I will never forget the first day on Spice World, the movie, because we were filming somewhere in Guildford, and each of the Spice Girls had huge Winnebagos, and I'd never been given one as big as that in my life. You could fit 2 houses into it. And they thrilled the producers inadvertently by saying that they didn't want to be isolated in one each, that they all wanted to be together. So it immediately meant that 4 Winnebagos were got rid of, which was an enormous budget saving instantly. But it was, symptomatic of how much camaraderie and how much they wanted to be in each other's company at all times. The TV series of Loki, the original drawings from the 60s comics had a muscle suit and, classic V shape and big belt. And they gave me It was a lycra Kermit type outfit that had no muscles at all, and I had a great argument with them, saying, I should have the muscles. I've longed to have muscles all my life and wanted to step into a muscle suit, but they refused. So they finally acquiesced and allowed me to have a cape to cover up the fact that I didn't have any muscles, so I could have some slight shoulder expansion on it. I think that because I had such a spectacular death playing classic Loki, there's no chance that they're going to bring me back, and they haven't called yet. I have known Peter Capaldi for more than 3 decades, and we were both doing plays in the West End, and he said, could we spend 5 days going to Shepperton Studios during the day and do this short film that I've written called Franz Kafka, It's a Wonderful Life, which is, it's a great title already, and then won Best Short Film Oscar in 1994, so all power to Peter's talent. And it won a BAFTA as well. Being asked to host the BAFTAs this year, I thought that they must have got something wrong, or that they had called the wrong person. But no, I was absolutely thrilled to be asked, because it's a great privilege, and I'm a movie fanatic and buff all my life. So the idea that somebody who grew up in the smallest country in the Southern Hemisphere could end up at the Royal Festival Hall hosting this is something that I never ever thought would happen to me.